Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Common Council meeting for Tuesday, April 12th. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Roll call.
Alderman Strelchak?
Here.
Alderman Pouquet? Here. Alderman Meyer?
Here.
Alderman Lashinsky?
Here.
Alderman Garrow?
Here.
Alderman Hawkins? Alderman Nurbin?
Here.
Alderman Adams?
Here.
Mayor Abendroth?
Here. We have a quorum. The first item on our agenda tonight is a public hearing, Ordinance 1469, an ordinance amending Chapter 58 of the City of Mequon zoning code for approximately 2.22 acres located at 11351 through 11363 North Port Washington Road from B3 Office to B2 Community Commercial and amending the land use plan map from Office to Community Commercial. The Planning Commission recommended denial of this ordinance on February 8th, and the first reading was at the Common Council on February 9th. Need a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to go into public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now in public hearing. We have a number of people who wish to speak. Nora Blaskowski.
Good evening. I live at 1342 West Homestead Trail, and I've been here so long that I remember a master plan for the city of Mequon. And since then, I really would like to know if there really is one. If there is one, I haven't seen it really adhered to in the last several years. This reminds me of history in my life. About several years ago, I was here with the same proposal, and I was told it was going to be a sit-down local restaurant, nothing to worry about. Well, the sit-downs are now Taco Bell and Jimmy John's, and the master plan for this particular side, the west side of Port Road, was to be strictly business, nothing else. The east side was a little bit different story. So far, there hasn't been too much business on the west side of Port Road. My main concern is, now that we have all these $3 a cup coffee people going to Starbucks for coffee, they're creating a big problem when they come from the south. First of all, they can't turn at Starbucks. They have to go further north to Homestead Trail. And when you're coming out of Homestead Trail and you meet somebody that's 15 minutes late to work going for their coffee, it could be a serious problem. And if we okay this zoning, I think you're not only going to increase the problem, you're going to have a big and serious accident. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Laskowski. Steve Richmond.
Hi, I'm Steve Richmond. I live at 1611 West Eastbrook Court. I also appeared before the Planning Commission and the Council a few years ago when the Taco Bell strip mall development was approved. Even though I'm a lawyer, retired lawyer, I must admit that due to my own ignorance in these matters, I really wasn't aware of the rezoning of that parcel. It's very similar to what's going on with the rezoning of this parcel until after it happened. And the time I really became aware of this was at a time that suddenly a drive-in fast food restaurant was being proposed, and there was a further modification of the plan. I am not one to just oppose development. I think the city should be having development. I think that I applaud what's been going on in the city over the last few years since I first appeared. It appears like there's been some consensus building and that there hasn't been a lot of the shouting and divisiveness that was taking place at the time that I had to appear the last time. But I think that something like this, if it's allowed to fester, could result in a lot of unnecessary controversy. I also am concerned that really my neighbors and the neighbors in the Homestead area really weren't aware of what was being proposed until all of a sudden we got the green card for the public hearing. And that whatever happens here, we need a little education to go on. We need to, before this is voted on, particularly since it's been rejected by the Plan Commission several times already, we need to have a little education, consultation with the neighbors, finding out what their concerns might be before this rezoning is approved. I'm not saying we shouldn't have development in the city, but it really needs to be done in a way where there's full disclosure and an ability for citizens to express themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Richmond. Bernie Burson.
I have to lower this a little. Bernie Burson, I live at 1521 West Eastbrook Drive. I've been here for 26 years, and again, I've also seen a lot of changes. The last time I was here was against the Taco Bell, and the reason being was that we were told that it was going to be a sit-down restaurant. We were told before that again, the west side of Port Road would be no drive-ins and no restaurants and that kind of thing. They belonged on the east side of the street where McDonald's is. And you set a precedent by allowing Taco Bell to be built, especially on the west side. And the traffic coming out of our subdivision is heavy due to the Taco Bell people pulling into the same basic lanes of traffic. If you allow another restaurant right down the street, you're going to have a lot more traffic, probably a lot more accidents, and it's just not suitable for Mequon living. We moved to Mequon years ago for a quiet atmosphere, not a Blue Mound Road. We don't want that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Burson. And finally, Jim Halavacek. Does not wish to speak. Okay, thank you.
Is he for or against?
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on this matter? Seeing none,
Was a gentleman for or against and didn't wish to speak?
he's opposed.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you.
Move to close public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to close public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Does anybody wish to take this ordinance up, as long as we have people here for it?
I move to waive the rules and take the ordinance up.
Motion to suspend the rules,
Second?
and a second. Call the roll.
Alderman Stralchek,
Aye.
Alderman Pouquet,
Aye.
Alderman Lashinsky,
Aye.
Alderman Garrow,
Exactly what are we voting on?
To suspend the rules to take
Oh, aye.
this ordinance up.
Aye.
Alderman Hawkins, Alderman Nurbin,
Aye.
Alderman Adams.
Aye.
How's about Alderman Meyer?
You missed one.
Alderman Meyer.
8-0. And we will now take up ordinance 1469, an ordinance amending Chapter 58, City of Mequon zoning map for approximately 2.2 acres at 11351 to 11363 Northport Washington Road from B3 office to B2 community commercial, and amending the land use plan map from office to community commercial. This was unanimously recommended to be denied by the Planning Commission on February 8th, and the first reading was on February 9th at the Common Council.
Motion to deny?
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second to deny. Is there any discussion? Alderman Nurbin.
I think the part about this rezoning that it's kind of slippery slope is it's a block of a number of these properties in a row with all the same zoning. And if you let one go, they're just going to all come right behind it. I think if I understand the history on this one correctly, staff also recommended denial before it went to Planning Commission. And their recommendation to the person requesting it was to maybe entertain a text amendment to see if there's a few limited number of uses in the one zoning district that we should consider adding to the other, and taking a look at that, because they weren't asking for the universe of what's in B2. Just a few of the things is what they indicated interest in, and they actually called me and tried to bend my ear on this as well. But after looking, yeah, it sounds good when you first listen to it, but when you look at everything that's in B2, there's some legitimate concerns that some of the residents have brought forward tonight. So I'm still in favor if they'd like to look at the text amendment, but I can't vote for the wholesale rezoning.
Alderman Adams?
Yeah, and what I remember, and I just want Kim to speak to it just very briefly, because the neighbors are here, that if they did come back with those amendments, the neighbors may also want to attend that meeting. But I think the big thing they were finding is there's a whole movement now for like small exercise studios. And I think they had a few people approaching them that had to walk away for things such as that. We're not talking restaurants or anything. Could you just talk just one or two things that they would like considered, so when it does come up at Planning Commission, if it still does, the residents know?
Sure. Good evening, Council. Thank you, Mayor, Alderman. The history, as Alderman Nurbin suggested, is correct. We did recommend denial. We did discuss a text amendment initially with the property owner, the applicant in this case. It originated from the retail users at Venture Court. With the structures coming down, there was an interest by the dry cleaning facility that was part of Venture Court that was looking for another space to move into within close proximity to this existing space. So the initial discussions with Kohler Credit Union was the opportunity for a dry cleaning facility, and as Alderman Adams suggested, they had to turn away a potential tenant as a fitness center. The B3 district doesn't allow for either of those. Our initial discussions with Kohler Credit Union was to pursue a text amendment. At the time that they applied, they changed their thought on what they wanted to pursue here. We did have some discussions at the Planning Commission level that even though it was trending towards the Planning Commission likely recommending denial, there was also an openness on the Planning Commission's part to allow or encourage perhaps the applicant to come back for that text amendment. But those were the types of uses that we would look at: fitness centers, dry cleaning facilities, services that would seem compatible and ancillary to a normal office development.
And just to follow that up, if there was a text amendment, how would the neighbors know about it?
Typically, a text amendment, because it's a policy item, would not include a specific notification to the property owners. In this particular case, though, given their interest, a couple things can happen. We either would encourage them to reach out to us every 4 to 6 weeks, and we can keep them up to date if there's any application that's pursued, or we can keep record of those who spoke tonight, and our department can reach out should a text amendment come forward.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Alderman Hawkins?
I'd just like to say, studying every issue that's been presented to us, without regard to the input from the Planning Commission, which voted 8-0 to deny this, I do respect their input, and I do respect the input of staff, which recommends denial. So, but looking at all this independently, I have to deny the request as well, and I will vote to deny.
Okay, roll call.
Alderman Pouquet?
The motion is to deny, correct?
Right.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer?
Aye.
Alderman Lashinsky?
Aye.
Alderman Garrell?
Aye.
Alderman Hawkins?
Aye.
Alderman Nurbin?
Aye.
Alderman Adams?
Aye.
Alderman Strelchuk?
Aye.
8-0, and ordinance 1469 is denied. Going back to the agenda, Personal appearances, public comment, citizens wishing to address the council on any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time. Seeing no one that wants to address us, we move on to public officials' reports. The mayor will defer to Alderman Bouquet.
I just wanted to share with all of you that I've had the pleasure to work with a service club at Homestead High School called Interact, short for International Action. They are required to do at least one local project, community service project, and one international project a year. They have chosen this year to do a public service to remove teasel, which, as you very likely know, is an invasive species, a pretty ugly one, and it has taken over the entire front yard of Oriole Lane School, from the school all the way down to Highland Road. And it is also a weed that is spreading all up and down east and west on Highland. So the young people have put together a public education program about teasel, what it is, what it looks like, how to get rid of it. There is some information at the city service desk and at the library. They're putting door hangers around many homes in Mequon, hopefully most all of them, before April 23rd, which is a week from Saturday. And then they will have a work day at Oriole Lane School specifically to remove the last year's teasel stock, some of which stand almost 7 feet tall. And you can't walk through it, and it's all very, very prickly kind of thing. If you don't know what it is, it's a pretty ugly invasive species. We're going to be taking all of that down, and our own DPW is going to haul it away, which is very much appreciated by the young people and by the school district. And then our partners, the Ozaki Washington Land Trust, will be doing a treatment of herbicide on the new plants that come in the spring. And thereafter, we will be working with the school district to maintain a mowing schedule so that this weed doesn't go to seed again, at least in the Oriole Lane School area. So if you're not doing anything, from 10 to 2 on April 23rd, come help us take some teasel out.
Okay, thank you, Alderman Bouquet. And on April 24th, Sunday, from 1 to 3, Arbor Day will be held at the Logoman Center, and that'll be the last time it'll be at the Logoman Center. And free trees. If you want free trees, come to Arbor Day on the 24th from 1 to 3 at the Logoman Center. Mr. City Administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just 2 quick items of note. First, a groundbreaking ceremony to mark the start of construction of the city's new combined public works facility is scheduled for this coming Thursday morning, beginning at 11 a.m. The ceremony will include public remarks and a photo opportunity for members of the Common Council and folks related to the construction of that new facility. And it'll take place at the department's current headquarters at 10800 or 10,800 Industrial Drive, just south of the Public Safety Headquarters building. Following the ceremony, light refreshments will be available in the break room beginning at 11:30. And then Deputy City Clerk Carolyn Fox has a quick summary update on the results of last week's local election.
We did have an election on April 5th in which Mayor Abendroth was reelected to a 3-year term. Alderman Stralchek was also reelected to a 3-year term, and Alderman-elect Worth will start his 3-year term in District 4. And all of the elected officials will be sworn in at next week's organizational meeting here in the Common Council room at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Moving on to our consent agenda, which includes council minutes of March, Architectural Board minutes of February, Bureau of Permits and Inspections report for February, Economic Development Board minutes of February, Finance Personnel minutes of February, Fire Department report for February, Mequon Festival Committee minutes of February and March, Mequon Thiensville Bike and Pedestrian Commission minutes of February, Park Board minutes of February, Police and Fire Commission minutes of December, Public Welfare Committee minutes of February, and the Zoning and Enforcement and Site Compliance report through April 1st. Also includes Resolution 3368, a resolution authorizing a development agreement for the Enclave of Mequon Preserve, Edition Number 1, for Phase 2, consisting of 16 single-family lots. This was recommended by the Planning Commission last evening. Resolution 3370, a resolution designating Mequon as a bee city, bee as in bzz, bees. Bee City USA,
Honeybee.
this was recommended by the Public Welfare Committee this evening. And Resolution 3372, a resolution approving a request from the Mequon Nature Preserve to utilize City of Mequon MMSD Green Solutions funding for the construction of a permeable parking lot paving project. Recommendation forthcoming.
Yes, it was unanimous.
It was recommended by Public Works this evening. That's our consent agenda, and looking for a motion to approve.
Move to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Alderman Nurbin.
Were there recommendations on items M and N? Sorry if I missed it.
M&N? Yes. Resolution 3368 was recommended by Planning Commission last night,
Unanimous.
On
And-
both?
and Resolution 3370 was recommended by Public Welfare this
Okay.
evening.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The consent agenda is adopted. Moving on to ordinances, we have ordinance 1468, an ordinance amending Chapter 58 of the City of Mequon zoning code for lakeside development for a 10-acre property located immediately south of 11104 Oriole Lane from R3, single-family residential with a C2 general conservancy, to R3 with C2 as a planned unit development to allow a 9-lot single-family residential development. This was recommended to be tabled by the Planning Commission in February. It was recommended by the Planning Commission in last night, and tonight it is a first reading. So there will be a public hearing at next month's meeting. Ordinance 1467, an ordinance amending a planned unit development approval for the Sarah Chudnow campus located at 10995 North Market Street, reducing the overall site acreage from 19.4 to 16.9 acres. This was recommended to be tabled by the Planning Commission in February, was recommended by the Planning Commission last evening, and this is also a first reading. Ordinance 1470, an ordinance amending Chapter 46, Article 4, Division 2 of the Mequon Municipal Code as it relates to hunting and the discharge of certain weapons within the city. This was recommended by the Public Safety Committee in February, and the first reading was at the Common Council in March. So this item is before us.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, call the roll.
Alderman Meyer,
Aye.
Alderman Lachinsky,
Aye.
Alderman Garrow,
Aye.
Alderman Hawkins,
Aye.
Alderman Nurbin,
Aye.
Alderman Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Strelchuk,
Aye.
Alderman Pouquet.
Aye.
8-0, and that is adopted. Moving on to resolutions. Resolution 3369, a resolution awarding the 2016 crack sealing contract to American Pavement Solutions of Green Bay, Wisconsin, in the amount of $157,162.
I move approval.
This was recommended by Public Works.
Yes, and it was recommended unanimously.
Okay. Motion and a second to approve. Is there any discussion?
Just that this particular contract came in at about, I think, $22,000 under what we had expected, which is wonderful, and what we had budgeted for.
Super. Okay, call the roll.
I got one question.
Alderman Meyer.
It's pertaining to Concord Creek. pertaining to Concord Creek. Is this the normal time frame for it? It seems like that was just paved just not that long ago. I mean, I know that it's been there for a while, but I mean, is that the normal progression for that? Because it is one of our newer subdivisions.
Generally speaking, depending on the pavement condition, we would crack seal anywhere within the first 2 to 5 years that the pavement was laid.
Okay.
Call the roll.
Alderman Lashinsky.
Aye.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
Alderman Hawkins.
Aye.
Alderman Urban.
Aye.
Alderman Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Strelchuk.
Aye.
Alderman Pouquet.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
8-0, and that is adopted. Resolution 3371, a resolution approving the award of a contract for the replacement of a generator and transfer switch at Lift Station A to Frank Gillitzer Electric, Mequon, Wisconsin, in the amount of $47,489. This was recommended by the Sewer Utility Commission this evening.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
Alderman Hawkins. Alderman Urban.
Aye.
Alderman Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Strelchuk.
Aye.
Alderman Pouquet.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer.
Aye.
Alderman Lashinsky.
Aye.
8-0, and that is adopted. We have no specified unfinished business. We have no petitions, memorials, remonstrances, or communications. No specified miscellaneous new business. But we do have a closed session. We convene into closed session pursuant to Section 19.85, paren 1, paren G, Wisconsin State statutes, conferring with legal counsel for the government body who is rendering oral and written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or is likely to become involved. This refers to the claim of the Lakes of Vildu Park Condominium Association. Need a motion?
Motion.
Go into closed session.
Yes.
And I'll second.
Motion and a second to go into closed session. Call the roll.
Alderman Hawkins.
Aye.
Alderman Urban.
Aye.
Alderman Adams.
Aye.
Alderman Strelchuk.
Aye.
Alderman Pouquet.
Aye.
Alderman Meyer. Alderman Lashinsky.
Aye.
Alderman Garrow.
Aye.
We will now go into closed session, and we will not be returning. Okay.